welcome to 24/7 Lifestyle Magazine with me, Adi from Humberwave Radio. I'm glad to be joined by John Illsley today, bassist from Dire Straits, no less. Good afternoon to you, John. Good to have you tuned in.
Good afternoon, Adrian. Nice to meet you.
And you've got an upcoming tour, or you're on a tour at the moment, in fact, doing lots of different places. I think the closest to our area that you're getting is Leeds. Is that right?
I'm just going to look at when we're in Leeds.
Monday the 3rd of November. I can tell you, I've got it up in front of me nice and
Okay.
quick for you. So save you having a look. That I think
Yes.
looking down your list, that's as closest as you're coming to us.
Well, it's a wonderful theatre the Leeds one. I think it's one of the quite a famous one because it was featured on the TV when they were doing that old music hall stuff a few years back, and I played there couple of years ago, and it's a really beautiful theatre, wonderful to play in, and great acoustics. So I'm very much looking forward to coming back and playing there again.
And you're going to be playing and also talking a little bit about the life in Dire Straits, what you did in Dire Straits and things like that. And
Yeah.
are you doing a bit of playing as well as doing that?
We're doing a bit of chatting and a bit of playing. So we're gonna talk really about the from the very beginnings of the band, how it all came together, and all the circumstances around that, from all the different people involved, Mark, David, and Pete Withers, and then just gently go through the all the albums very not swiftly, but with a way of trying to understand the progress of the band and how it developed. And a lot of that's got to do with the songwriting, of course. And so the first half is 20 minutes of chat, and then 25 minutes, 30 minutes of playing songs from the first albums, the first four albums. And then in the second half, we talk about Brothers in Arms, because this is the 40th anniversary of the album being released, 1985, same year as Live Aid and all sorts of things going on. And then we play a lot of the music from the Brothers in Arms album. So it sort of circumnavigates the whole Dire Straits world, if you like. It's a lot of fun to do. I know that. I chat to one of my old managers, who always asks me some awkward questions. He always throws in a few curveballs, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. But it's a lot of fun, and we invite questions from the audience as well.
So you never know really what you're going to get on each night, and each night can be totally different then.
It can be. It certainly can be. But obviously, the story of the band is the story of the band. But what seems to happen, Adrian, is that we're chatting away, and suddenly I'll go, "Oh, I've just remembered this situation in Stuttgart in Germany in 1979. Do you remember that when the da 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 da?" And Paul went, "God, I've completely forgotten about that." And so we get into we just go off down little avenues from time to time, just to add a bit of freshness to every night, really.
Yeah, I mean, been a fan of Dire Straits since my friend really got me into Dire Straits when I was in senior school with him, and he was a good drummer. I want a good drummer, and he sort of tried to teach me to play the drums, and was learning to play the drums to a lot of Dire Straits songs. So been a fan, and he had Alchemy Live on VHS video, and he wore it out in the video cassette recorder. I think he's still got it, but we used to watch it more or less every day when we got back from school, just to watch how you lot put it all together and how good it was. What was your favourite, version of the band? Was it the early version of the band, or was it, the stadium rocking outfit that was your favourite?
Oh gosh, that's such a difficult thing to actually sort of select anything like that. I mean, the beginnings of the band were obviously fascinating and rather extraordinary. And as the songs developed and the band developed, it turned into a sort of different moment every time we made a record, every time we performed. And by the time we started with four people in the band, and by the time we finished on the On Every Street tour, we had nine, I think. At the beginning, we had one guy a Scottish roadie who shifted everything around, And then we had at the end, we had 140 people working for us and 47 Arctic lorries. So it's quite difficult to pick a particular moment, but there was something about playing in those sweaty clubs like the Marquee and the Bottom Line in New York and the Roxy in LA, and then playing in stadiums. It's a very different experience. You tend to get a little bit more separate away from the audience when you're playing in these big places, obviously, but the power of an audience of 30, 40, 50,000 people when you walk onto that stage is totally extraordinary.
Yeah, amazing to feed off, I would think.
Yeah, you get a shiver down your spine basically, and you go, right, here we go again.
When you first started out, did you expect to get to where you've obviously got to and to do with all the things that you've managed to do in your life?
Well, absolutely not. I mean, we were literally putting together ideas just for fun and playing in the local pubs in Southeast London, living in a council flat, getting paid 20 quid for a gig if we were lucky with a pint of beer. And but a lot of bands start like that. And
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is, Adrian, you never know where this life is going to lead you, but you have to be driven by passion.
yeah.
And there's no doubt about it. We weren't short of passion, and we had a remarkable songwriter in our midst. Things like Sultans of Swing and Six Blade Knife and Lady Writer, up to On Every Street, Money for Nothing, Brothers. I could name an awful lot of songs, and it's the songs really that carry the music and the band through, because people relate to songs. And I think the band was pretty good at playing them. I don't know. I've always been asked this question: what would have happened if Mark had decided to work with other people as opposed to the ones he did? Well, it's a very difficult thing to imagine, actually. But
Of course it is.
um, would it have been the same or would it have been different? I don't know. I have to think that it would have probably been different, because I think we had a certain sympathy or sympathetic relationship. I had a very good relationship with him and still do. Had lunch with him yesterday. And I think that's the strength of a band. We had a very strong unit, him and I, and went through from the start to the finish. And, we were blessed with some fantastic songs and great audiences. And I always think that a good song is like a good painting. You never get bored with looking at it or hearing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And that to me is what we were about. We made sure that we made as much as possible the best of what material we had.
Song's still going strong today. I still play Dire Straits regularly on my shows on the radio. What was it like recording with Mark? Was it good or was it stressful at times? How did you find it?
Oh, I would say 99% of the time was an absolute pleasure. When you sort of agree about how things are going to be, and it's not a question of some sort of domination. It's like there's a flow. There's a sort of musical flow going on, which you just sort of engage in, and I found my place in the music quite easily, and especially when Pick Withers joined as the drummer, and you talking about drummers a bit earlier on. Now he was an exceptional drummer, and a lot of people listen to his work and try and copy it. I've got a drummer that working for me now, actually, who comes pretty close, but there's always a little bit of a but, because Pick was exceptional, and the feel of the music really is part of what everybody added to the mix. And if anybody wants to learn how to play the drums properly or learn Dire Straits stuff, they need to listen to Pick Withers.
Well,
But
we'll take your tip on that for try. I've invested in a drum kit recently, and I'm having another bash at it. And my friend who was the drummer, he's now the guitarist, and he's obviously learnt how to play the guitar, and he can do Sultans of Swing pretty well. Obviously, no Mark Knopfler, but he's tried to learn it as best he can from that. So we're gonna have a little bash together, and we'll keep trying to do these things, but
very good, very
never
good.
be as good as that, I'm sure. What can we expect from the tour? Will you be playing the early tunes on the list as well as your later stuff?
Yeah, we will be. We'll be playing songs from all the albums, actually. I think off the first album we play Sultans and Down to the Waterline, which I love playing. which was the very first track on the very first album. And we play Wild West End sometimes, which is great because it reminds me of when Mark and I were wandering around in Soho, misbehaving ourselves. And we play Lady Writer sometimes from the Communique album and Romeo and Juliet, and we pick out the ones that I think people want to hear and pick out the ones we want to play as well. I never get tired of playing these songs. I mean, it's a real pleasure to be able. I mean, I've got a great band with me. I've got Robbie McIntosh on guitar, who's a phenomenal guitar player, and Steve Smith, who's sort of like the MD, the musical director, who plays keyboards. He's been playing with me for about 15 years now, and Hannah Robinson, who sings with me and plays the rhythm guitar. And this time we're taking a percussionist with us. So we're going to have a slightly different feel from the last Life and Times tour. So I'm really looking forward to adding the percussion into the situation and see how that works. It's going to be very exciting.
You're obviously still enjoying touring, John. It's something that's not, phasing you. You're still going at it. You're still enjoying it. I've seen that you're going across to Holland, aren't you, as well, on as
Yeah,
part of the 40th anniversary of Brothers in Arms.
yeah.
Uh, that a
Yeah.
bit different to what you're doing round in England?
Yes, it was a difficult decision to make because I thought, well, hang on, we're doing 3 weeks around the UK, which is it's not it's reasonably intensive, but then I've got to put the whole band together for these Dutch tours because these are quite big venues. They're about 1,000 people in Holland, and it just came from an agent friend of mine in Germany. Actually, he said, that there's some very keen interest in you bringing some Brothers at Arms stuff to celebrate the anniversary to Holland. And I said, okay, when do you want to do it? He said, beginning of December. And I thought, oh my God, I mean, hang on a second. I'm going to be pretty tired by the 7th of December. I think I'm going to need to have rest for a bit.
Yes. Two of
Yeah,
those shows have sold out already.
yeah.
I mean, that's amazing, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is actually. I'm very pleased. But Holland has always been a very, very big country for, I should say the Netherlands actually, because that's what they
Yeah.
really like to be called. It's always been a big country for the Dire Straits music, and
Yeah.
it's the first place where we actually got a gold album. We were still living in the council flat, and we suddenly found ourselves in Amsterdam being given a gold album for 25,000 copies. And this was after the record company had said to us when we joined the record company, if you sell 5,000 copies of the first album, we'll be delighted.
And you got a
So,
gold.
and so you never know what's going to happen in this life. You just got to go along with it and enjoy it.
What's your three favorite songs to play if you had to pick three?
Well, the top of the list would be Brothers in Arms, I think,
Yeah.
for me personally. I still love playing Sultans, even though I've probably played it a couple of thousand, maybe a couple of thousand times, I reckon. Uh,
You maybe know the notes to it now and everything then, John.
yes, it's interesting because every night it's just slightly different. I love playing Romeo and Juliet. I think that's just a delight, a total delight. I remember the very first time I heard it when Mark came round to my house in South London with the 1928 National, and he tuned the guitar in an unusual way. And I said, "Oh, that's unusual tuning." And he said, "Yeah, it kind of happened by accident." And I thought, "Hmm." And then he started playing Romeo and Juliet, and I went, "Wow, man, that's a pretty cool song." And he said, "Yeah, I'm quite pleased with it."
He's right to be pleased with it.
I
What a
said,
great tune and still going massively strong these days as well.
"Yeah, yeah, very, very, very privileged to have been involved in all this." Yeah.
So you've not been together for a long time as a band. You obviously said you had dinner with Mark yesterday. Is there any chance of Dire Straits getting back together and maybe doing a Glastonbury set or something like that?
Well, I think that would probably be a very unusual thing to happen. We're very happy where we left it, and we've gone off and done different things ourselves. I've done quite a few solo albums myself and enjoyed doing that. And things change. I took up painting big time when the tour stopped. In 1992. I've really enjoyed, trying my hand at being a painter with a reasonable amount of success. A very different way of approaching the world. I love doing both those things. I'm very fortunate that I've got two things that really excite me in life still. In one's mid 70s, it gets me out of bed in the morning.
Well, it's good to hear that you're still going strong and you've got passions in your life that you can enjoy because ultimately if you can enjoy life then that's a big part of it, isn't it? I was saying that it's never going to happen. I was going to say never then, John.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think
No,
it would
no.
have happened by now. You know, it was when we finished in 1992. We finished on a real high. We played to a lot of people over a couple of year period with a few breaks, 250 shows. It was a good time to stop and just say thank you very much, and good night.
And you think that sometimes it's the best way to go out on a high. You've had a really good time. You've all still, you're still friends with Mark. You've not fallen out or anything like that. And sometimes you've got to say we've done that the right way then.
Yes, I think so. I do admire people who still keep trucking on. I mean, I saw the Who at the Albert Hall the other day, and two 80-year-old blokes still sort of hammering it out. I was kind of impressed with that. And yeah, I mean, I think it's it's kind of in your blood. But I get my kicks from going off and doing, my shows,
Yeah,
so I can play some of my music
of
and play some
course.
of the Straits music. I've got a lot of songs of my own to play. I've got almost too much music to choose from now. It's really difficult, when I put a 2 hour set together, which I've got to do for Holland. I'll throw in a few of my, few of my songs there, just because I can.
Yeah, and why wouldn't you? You've wrote these songs, you've spent the time doing them, you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah,
You've got to do that, haven't you?
absolutely,
You've put a lot of
absolutely.
time and effort into it. So why wouldn't you? So this tour that you're going on, then obviously it looks like it's starting on the 24th of October at the Theatre Royal in Winchester, and then as you say, it's going on for about 6 weeks, and then across to Holland to do your December there, where you're going to be absolutely cream crackered.
Yeah, thanks for that, Adrian. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm quite good at pacing myself these days.
Good.
Especially at the after parties. You have to realize that you can't do what you did when you were 27 years old.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. You need to
You have
you
to.
need to definitely pace yourself, John, on that. And you've got quite a lot of places that you visit, and you're going more or less all over the country with it, aren't you? So there's a chance for people wherever they're listening from to hear you and to be able to come and see you.
Yeah, we're going as far as Alnwick and up in the north, in near Durham up north, and
Yeah.
I did get a very succinct message from a Scottish lass the other day saying, "Why are you always ignoring Scotland?" And I thought, she has no idea how many times I'd love to come to Scotland, but you start somewhere and then you get up to Glasgow and you realise you're sort of 8.5 hours away from. And that, it's a big deal, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
And you're doing. I mean, you're obviously doing this. You're doing nights on the trot. You've got the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth to go in November that I can see there. You're giving yourself a few days off and then going at it, hammer and tongs again. So it's a lot to do in going and traveling between these places every day and staying in different hotels and things like that.
Yeah, you get quite good at it though. I've had years of staying one night in hotels. Um, I don't mind it. I mean, I do miss being at home. I have to say,
Yeah.
I'm a very much a home bird these days. So I'm hoping my wife will come out on a few of the dates. I mean, she's definitely coming on some, but she's quite busy with her. She's a writer, so she's quite busy with her thing as well. So. Um, I've got a very lovely family, four lovely children and four lovely grandchildren. So that's very important to me. But this is also important, and I do it at my own pace. That's all I would say. And the thing is, with these gigs we're doing around the UK, we're actually sitting down. We're not running around a stage,
Yeah.
and we're playing the songs semi-acoustically, as I say, with a percussionist. So it gives the songs a completely different feel, but the essence of the song is always there.
Brilliant. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the tour, John. I hope it all goes well for you. Thanks for talking to us at 24/7 Lifestyle Magazine and Humberwave Radio. And I hope to get to see you down at Leeds. I'm going to try and drag my friend John, he's also called John, with me to come and watch you at Leeds on the 3rd of November. It'd be a good night.
Well, Adrian, well, if you make yourself known, I'll be outside doing the merch signing after the gig. So come and say hi.
Certainly will do, John. Pleasure to talk to you today, and thanks for your time.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
Bye.